regarding Jeffrey Epstein. In a September 2023 interview with Glenn Beck, you said the Black Book is under the, quote, direct control of the director of the FBI.
2 minutes ago, Representative Pramila Jayapal showed such evidence that Kash Patel's hands trembled while holding the table. She held up a photo to the cameras and said 6 words, "Director Patel, do you know this man?" And if you're watching this right now, don't turn off this video, because what happens in the next few minutes will go down in Washington history. Everyone who saw that photo understood what was happening, and the room was completely frozen. Subscribe right now, because this story will shake America, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Let me tell you about that moment. House Judiciary Committee Oversight Hearing, Monday morning, 10:42 Eastern. This meeting was scheduled for FBI budget discussions, cybersecurity updates, immigration enforcement, standard congressional theater. Republicans would praise Patel, Democrats would criticize, everyone would read their prepared remarks and then go home comfortably. That wasn't what happened. Pramila Jayapal entered that session room with a black portfolio. I noticed immediately, because Jayapal doesn't usually bring materials to sessions. She is known for her extraordinary memory, able to quote statements from months ago without looking at notes. That portfolio meant something, a documented thing, something that needs to be seen, something that no one has seen until now. The first 2 hours went as expected. Republican members asked easy questions about the FBI's successes. Democratic members raised concerns about civil liberties. Patel gave practiced answers, that smooth bureaucratic tone that seems transparent but says nothing. Then it was Jayapal's turn. "Director Patel," she began, deliberately opening the black portfolio slowly, "I want to discuss the Epstein investigation files that you have been trying to hide from everyone for the past few months." The temperature in the room dropped. Epstein questions always do this. But there was something different about Jayapal's delivery, not angry, not theatrical, just definite. Like a surgeon explaining where to cut. Patel shifted slightly in his chair. "Representative, as you know, we have made an unprecedented commitment to transparency regarding those files. We released more than 1,200 pages of previously classified documents, and..." "I didn't ask that, Director Patel." Jayapal's interjection was surgical. She didn't raise her voice. "It wasn't necessary. I didn't ask about the files you published. I'm asking about the photos you kept. The photos that you decided to keep private. Now it gets interesting." 3 lawyers sitting directly behind Patel leaned forward at the same time. It was like watching a choreographed panic dance. They knew something was coming. "Representative," Patel said, his voice steady but his right hand moving toward the edge of the table, "I don't personally make the decisions on photo classifications. These are made by career classification experts according to established protocols." Before he could finish his sentence, Jayapal pulled a single envelope from the black portfolio. It was large, brown, and the FBI evidence confidential stamp was clearly visible. The cameras zoomed in. "This," Jayapal said, holding the envelope carefully, "is a photo taken from the FBI evidence locker. And there are 14 more like it. Photos taken in Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan home in 2005. A short but heavy pause, the kind that makes your stomach drop. These photos were requested through 3 separate Freedom of Information Act requests. They were sought by 2 congressional subpoenas. They were requested by a court order. And you, Director Patel, rejected all of these under national security exemption." She paused. "National security," she said, pulling out the first photo. "How is a photo of a technology CEO having dinner with Jeffrey Epstein a matter of national security, Director Patel?" She held the photo up to the cameras. The image was not clear in C-SPAN resolution, but the setting was recognizable: 2 men, casual clothes, wine glasses, and elegant dining room. Patel's face changed. Shock, followed by quick calculation, then something very similar to fear. "Representative, that photo was taken out of context." "Then give us the context." Jayapal's voice was icy. "Explain to me and the American people watching how this photo taken at Jeffrey Epstein's house threatens national security." Patel tried to resort to bureaucratic language. The classification process involves complex evaluations, ongoing investigations, witness protection protocols. I didn't ask about the process, Jayapal interrupted him, never raising her voice, never needing to. I asked you about this photo. Why are you hiding it? But Jayapal wasn't done yet. She pulled out a second photo. This, she said, was taken in 2004 at Epstein's mansion in Palm Beach. 4 men by the pool. I know one of them, Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know the other 3, but you classified them. Third photo. This is 2006. New York. A private yacht party. 6 men, 3 women. One of the women was 17 years old at the time. She has a statement in the FBI files. She can identify these men. She can testify in court. But you buried this photo too. The gallery was silent now, the kind of silence where everyone feels history being written. Director Patel, Jayapal continued, pulling out the 4th photo, I'm going to ask you a simple question. Has the FBI launched any investigation regarding any of the individuals depicted in these 14 photographs? Silence. 31 seconds of silence. I counted. Representative, I cannot disclose certain investigations to the public. Yes or no, Director? Did you investigate the men in these photos? Yes or no? Patel's mouth opened and closed. His lawyers were taking notes, but he wasn't even looking. He was alone. Finally, the FBI evaluates all credible evidence according to established protocols. I take that as a no, Jayapal said. You said no using 17 words. Because these men are very powerful. Because these men are very well connected. Because these men are your boss's friends. Jayapal pulled out the 5th photo, and that changed everything. Director Patel, do you recognize this photo? It was a black and white photo, looking older, like from the 1990s. 3 men on a golf course. They're laughing, relaxed, looking like friends. This photo, Jayapal said, was taken in 1997 at Mar-a-Lago. The man on the left is Jeffrey Epstein. The man in the middle. She paused. The man who appointed you as FBI director. The room exploded. It exploded in the true sense of the word. The journalists jumped to their feet. The cameras zoomed in. Republican members tried to object, but their voices were lost in the chaos. This photo has been public for years, Jayapal continued, raising her voice without shouting. But what the American people have not seen, she pulled out another photo, are these 27 photos taken on the same day. Same event. The same people. And they are all locked up in your FBI evidence locker. She held the photos like a fan. All from the same day, the same event, the same people. Director Patel, why? Why are these 27 photos classified? Why can't the American people see these? Why can't they see how close the man who appointed you is to Jeffrey Epstein? Patel was silent. He had literally lost his voice. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. I object, a Republican member shouted. Mr. Chairman, this is unacceptable. Representative Jayapal. I am not done yet, Jayapal turned, her voice carrying such authority that the room fell silent again. This is my time, and I will ask my questions to Director Patel. The chairman, even Republican Jim Jordan, hesitated for a moment. Then he nodded. Proceed. Jayapal pulled out the 6th photo. Maria Santos, she said quietly. She was kidnapped at the age of 19. Gave a statement to the FBI. She identified 6 men. And they showed her a photo of one of them. This photo. There was a man in the photo, middle-aged, in a suit, at Epstein's house with other people. Maria Santos recognized this man. She provided the dates. She provided the details. Ready to testify in court. And you permanently classified this photo. Maria waited 15 years for justice, and you chose to protect her abuser. Jayapal's voice broke for the first time. Real emotion, real anger. If what has been described shocks you, if you think this is important, press the like button now. This video should reach as many people as possible. Like the video, leave a comment. Let's amplify this conversation. Director Patel, Jayapal continued, I will ask you one last question, and I want you to answer while looking at the cameras. Because Maria Santos is watching. Thousands of victims are watching. The American people are watching. Pause. Why is protecting powerful men more important than giving justice to Maria Santos? Patel had nothing. No answer, no escape, no explanation. He sat there, his hands slightly trembling, his face pale under the lights. Representative, he said finally, his voice breaking. I absolutely reject the claim that the FBI acted improperly or with political motivation. Your denial doesn't change anything, Jayapal said calmly. The photos are real. Witnesses are real. The victims are real. And your silence is an answer. She closed the black portfolio. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions. But I am putting forward a motion. This committee should subpoena all 14 photos personally classified by Director Patel. I also request all communications related to these classification decisions and all records of FBI contacts with the individuals depicted in these photographs. The session descended into procedural chaos from that point on. Motions, counter-motions, parliamentary procedure. But none of it mattered. What mattered was that moment, those 8 minutes where Pramila Jayapal systematically dismantled Kash Patel's credibility. With photos, with witnesses, with names. Within an hour, the footage was everywhere. Jayapal exposes Patel's Epstein photos trended worldwide. Conservative media was trying to spin it. Liberal media was calling for resignation. And somewhere, Maria Santos was finally being heard. The black portfolio became a symbol. 14 photos. 27 hidden images. A girl kidnapped at 19 and a woman still waiting for justice 15 years later. I have been following Congress for years. I've seen tough interrogations. I've seen explosive confrontations. But I have never seen anything like what Pramila Jayapal did in those 8 minutes. She didn't shout, she didn't perform, she didn't create sound bites. She simply proved, methodically, precisely, and devastatingly, that the FBI director was lying. She did it with photographs. She did it with names. She did it with a girl who was kidnapped at 19 and waited 15 years for someone to care. Kash Patel walked out of that session knowing his career was over. Not because of partisan attacks. A Democratic representative asked him to explain why he was protecting powerful predators instead of the victims, and he had no answer. 2 minutes. A single black portfolio. 14 photos. And a question Patel couldn't answer: why did you choose power instead of justice? The clips are still spreading. The subpoenas are being prepared. And Maria Santos finally has someone fighting for her. Sometimes accountability doesn't require hours of testimony or months of investigation. Sometimes it just takes someone willing to ask the questions that no one else dares to. Pramila Jayapal asked. Kash Patel's silence answered. Share the video now. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because this is just the beginning. These photos were buried for years. They are now out in the open. And everyone is watching.